I think Tampa will take both games in Tampa to start the series, and then Montreal will win 2 games in Montreal. But then Tampa will win the next one, and then Montreal will win the last 2. I think Montreal will do the same thing the Bruins did. They'll lose all their games on the road until the last one, the one that matters, happens, and they'll take home the cup. What are your predictions?
Suns have the best backcourt duo.
Yeah, so we've already talked about Burrow a lot, especially how he's influenced the Bengals organization to do some questionable things.
A great job from the Islanders to rebound off that and force a Game 7 with Bellavide's game-winning goal in overtime in Game 6.
We don't talk about the 2010s because the 2010s had the Astros, and if the Astros didn't happen, the Yankees would have won in 2017 over the Dodgers.
I'm going to say it's during the Week 17 game after the Cowboys have clinched the division, so we just put Benanucci in.
Vegas was really outplayed the last 3 games of this series, and they did not seem like they wanted it as much as Montreal did.
And then the Oilers versus the Jets. Jets haven't been playing well. Oilers, you got a great offense with Connor McDavid. So I have them sweeping them.
Yeah, well, I don't think you heard my point. The San Francisco Giants have 3 more in the 2010s than the Rangers have in their entire history. So, yeah.
It's hard to get back and to get back-to-back wins. And I don't see the Lightning doing it here, so I have them losing to the Hurricanes in 6.
DeAndre Ayton, I think, will step up in this series and shut down Jokic enough for this to work out for them.
He was close to Frank Reich, and they want Frank Reich back, so that's what they got. It's their discount Frank Reich in Eagles' eyes.
Kaprizov and the rest of this crew, Jordan Greenway, who doesn't get enough props, he definitely is somebody who needs to be mentioned more.
What would you have said if I bet you $100 at the end of the round robin and start of the playoffs that the Stars would be in the Stanley Cup playoffs or Stanley Cup finals?
Hi, this is Julie Dobbs. You're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA Opinions of the Week. We're going to talk about the finals, Game 5, and now Game 6, and what we think could happen, and possibly a Game 7. But sadly, Curry's streak of 233 straight games of making at least one three-pointer ended. And I already told you the stat, Austin, but that's Curry's record. That's the highest record ever in 233 straight games. The second record, I believe, is Curry. I'm not sure about the number, but the third player to have the all-time three-pointers made in a row is Jordan Clarkson. So, I'm trying to see.
Yeah, I found it. So Curry, the record is 233 from 2018 to 2022 for Curry. Second is Curry from 2014 to 2016, 196 games. And then Clarkson is third with 101 consecutive games from 20 to 2021.
Yeah, that's just incredible that Curry owns the top 2, and then I was surprised that Jordan Clarkson was the third. I would have thought Clay, or I know you said Korver.
Yeah, Korver had the record before Curry broke it in 2014, 2015, 2016, like that stretch. Korver had the record previous to that. I think it was like 97, though.
Okay, so Korver must be like 4 or 5.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, but so Curry didn't hit a 3. He only had 14 points.
I thought it was 16.
Oh, 16? Okay.
I'll check.
Well, yeah. 16 points without making a 3, and the Warriors still won, which I think that's a huge thing for them. Like I talked about in our other NBA Finals episode, the Celtics won a game when Tatum didn't score much. I think this is huge for the Warriors because I don't think – how many points did Clay have? Like I didn't think someone
Clay
else
had 21.
Oh, okay. 21.
Curry, I was right, had 16. He shot 7 of 22 from the field, though, which is not good, 31.8%. Obviously 0 of 9 from 3.
Yeah, so not his best game. I think it was like one of the worst games in the playoffs and maybe ever from when I was listening to other people talk about it. But they still won, and now they have a 3-2 lead. And the probability of Curry doing that again is probably less than 3%. So I kind of gonna lean toward the Warriors, but this Celtics also have the stat of they were undefeated after a loss until Game 5 in the playoffs because now they've lost two straight. So I think they can win Game 6 and then force Game 7, but I think Curry's going to play much better. What are your thoughts on this series so far?
Yeah, and the biggest thing for me was Andrew Wiggins, who had 13 rebounds, 26 points, a steal, a block, shot well from the field, even though he didn't make a 3-all game. He's really been a difference for their team. Without Andrew Wiggins, they obviously lose that game. And I've also been impressed by Gary Payton II. He had 15 points, 5 rebounds, had 3 steals, and had the best plus minus on the team with plus 16. Players like that are the reason why you win championships. Stars can't do everything every game. Obviously, Curry had 43 in Game 4 to help the Warriors steal that one in Boston, and now they have the lead in the series despite Curry having a bad game, and that's a champion isn't crowned just because they have one great player. It's a team effort, and Wiggins and Peyton have really stepped up.
I agree. Wiggins, especially like in the Mavs series, he was incredible, and he's just been a great defender in this series. And then you also mentioned his points in Game 5. He seemed to he seemed to be like on a coming back tour. Like I kind of forgot about him. Like they got Wiggins. It was just a nice deal with the Timberwolves, and the Wiggins is former number 1 overall pick, and to me, he's starting to live up to that potential that people had for him when he was selected number 1 overall. So that's been really nice, and I'm curious, does he stay with the Warriors, or maybe do the Warriors trade him? I'm not sure, but he's a great defender. So is Gary Payton. Then you have Draymond, and then Kevon Looney has been a good defender. The defenders that the Warriors have has just been great. When you're facing such a tough team with the Celtics and the teams that they've had to beat to make it this far. So Peyton, I know I'm forgetting another defender. Draymond, you have Iguodala, but he hasn't played much, which is surprising. Otto
It's
Porter,
because he's been hurt, but he has played some, and I thought he's played well whenever he does play. He just, because of his injury, I don't think Steve Kerr trusts him to like stay in front of people he's guarding.
yeah. So, and then a fun fact about Wiggins: how much do you think he's making right now?
Per year,
Yeah, what's his like salary for this year?
20 million,
No,
14,
no,
lower, higher.
higher. It was higher than 20 million.
Oh wow, 30.
Yeah, you're pretty close. It's 31.58 million.
Wow,
Or
I
actually,
was
it's
extremely far off.
33 million. Oh, and he's UFA in 2023. So is that this year?
No, that's next year because this is 21,
Okay,
22,
it's next
so it'd be
year.
next year.
Okay, so he is 31. Next year is 33 million, and then he's a UFA at 28. I thought he would have been older than 28.
He was a freshman coming out of college whenever he was drafted, so he was pretty young heading into the NBA. But he's been here since 2014. 14-15 was his first year, so this is what, his 8th season now? No, 7th season. No, 8th season. I was right the first time.
Yeah. So that was just the money. Like he's playing great, but and maybe starting to live up to that contract, but he is making lots of money. So that was one thing that stuck out to me. And then on the Celtics side, I definitely believe that they can bounce back. It's just going to be really tough. And then you never know what happens in a Game 7. And they're going to be on home court for Game 6. So I think you just have to look at Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and then see what they can do scoring wise. And then defensively, they're going to have to find a way to stop Curry.
Yeah, and that's what's so surprising about the fact that Boston lost his last game is because of how poorly the team shot as a whole. The Warriors shot 9 of 40, which is like 22% from three. That is not good, yet the defense of the Warriors really showed up with Wiggins, with Draymond, with Gary Payton. Clay played good defense. Curry didn't play all that bad of defense either. And that could really be the difference. They were stifling everyone besides Tatum. Tatum had his first like great shooting game to this point in the series, and he's definitely going to have another one if they want to win Game 6.
Yeah, and speaking of like shooting, not shooting well for the Celtics, it was how many minutes into the game when they had not made a three and they shot like 11?
It was a while.
Like I think they were 1 of 13, and that's when they finally made their first 3-pointer.
Yeah, they were definitely 0 of 12. I remember that. They were 0 for 12, and then they hit one.
So you just can't do that. You're shooting that many threes. And definitely their turnovers. You can't give turnovers because that definitely energizes the Warriors. But thankfully, Curry wasn't hitting threes because Curry hitting a three in transition is just, I think, heartbreaking for a team because then he starts to get hot. So I think I still believe in my prediction, Warriors in 7. They could win it in 6, but I think the Celtics put up a fight and they get a win in Game 6.
Yeah, and despite the fact that I think Curry will play better, like you said, I also think the Celtics will win Game 6 in front of a home crowd. They've been a good home team so far this season, and the TD Garden's a hard place to play. I'm just worried about the fact that will they be able to guard Curry? And I know that may seem weird to say after Curry had such a bad game, but there's so much time in between these games that I know Curry's in the lab practicing day and night to get back his form. And if he's has that Kobe mentality, as we've heard so much with Tatum, but if he's working and working and working and working to get his shot right, I feel like Curry may have his best game.
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting Curry. I don't know. I want to say above 40% from three in his next game because he shot so poorly. Like I don't think he's going to do it again. And like you mentioned, the time between games is incredible, and I guess it's just because it's going from East Coast to West Coast, and the flight is about 6 hours. But man, it's someone said like Game 1, and they said like a week ago, and I was like, wow. Just with like the series before, it was like every other day. It was great, but
Yeah, well, yeah, and the next game after the game, which is Thursday, if there is a Game 7, that game's on Sunday. So that it puts a 7-day period between Game 5 and Game 7. So that's a lot of time for a player to get cold or get hot, and they have to really use that time to the best. I definitely don't think it should be that long. You could say that it's because of how far away teams are, but the break that they get, I think, is too drastic. We see in the NHL, they played uh, every other day, every series, even some of those series being far away. And this next one's between Colorado and Tampa, and that's a pretty far flight too. So I wouldn't necessarily be surprised though if maybe the NBA sees some of the backlash and changes it up just a little bit next year, but we already got the schedule, so we know what this one's going to be like.
yeah, I agree with that. And then Finals MVP. If the Warriors win, I think it has to go to Curry, even though he still had that one bad game. I still think
It
Curry
depends
gets.
if he has two more bad games and they end up winning in 7. I do think there's a chance it could go to Wiggins, who's averaging almost 10 rebounds and 18 points, and those continue to climb up. I could technically see it happening where someone else wins it, but I would give that a 1% chance of happening. I think Curry's going to have a good Game 6, and even if they lose that game, I think he'll have a good Game 7 as well. So if the Warriors win, I'd be shocked if it doesn't go to Curry. And then for Boston, right now I'm leaning towards Jaylen Brown because all the games they've won, he's been their best player. Besides game 1 because Al Horford had a great game, but comparatively to Tatum, Jaylen Brown played better. But it would be a more popular choice just by popularity contest for Tatum to win, but I would pick Jaylen Brown right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And yeah, if Curry has another bad game, then I think him winning Finals MVP is in jeopardy. But I would be absolutely shocked if he had a second bad game.
I agree.
I think he's going to be. It just happens sometimes. You have a bad game there, so he's been great all playoffs and just one bad game. So I do probably lean Jaylen Brown too because Tatum really hasn't impressed me to be in the conversation with Finals MVP, but he is the more popular player compared to Brown. So I believe that's it. So do you think it goes to Game 7?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. I agree. And then I hope it's just close. And we had one close game. That was Game 5. Game 6 seemed to fall out of favor near the
You
end.
mean Game 4, not Game 5?
Game 4?
Yeah, because Game 6 is tomorrow.
Well, yeah.
You said Game
yeah,
6.
we just
Yeah.
did. Yeah. Yeah, I meant Game 4. Thanks. Yeah, Game 5 was just like, okay. They kind of decided it near the end. So that is all we got. We appreciate you listening. Make sure to check out all our other videos from Outsiders Opinions. Thank you for listening.